Do it.
I'm very tired after all this decorating.
Do it.
These threads are madness. I've had enough of all these low view threads. Okay, I was happy here. I was happy just doing the shorts.
I won't let you be happy. Why should I? Friday, the Grosvenor, you'll be there.
I won't.
You will. I told Ted you're doing it. Don't you show me up.
No, I won't be there.
You will. You're Mr. Roundtree.
No.
Yes, Roundtree.
No.
Yes, Grosvenor.
No, Don.
Friday.
I won't.
You will.
No, Don.
Yes, 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 yes.
Don, stop kidding ourselves. We both know the reason you're here. It's not just because of me.
What do you say?
Oh, it's not just because of me.
What are you talking about?
Kiss, AC/DC, Boston, Foreigner, Metallica.
I find this astonishing. You're amazing. This is astounding.
Let's be honest. This is about Steely Dan. Okay, so this thread is 5 artists I have never owned a record by, or I have never owned a record by these 5 artists. Now this is a thread by, I think it's Steve at All the World's A Staged, and the criteria is as followed. Never owned any of their music, so quite obvious. And at some point, or they could sell out 20k 1,000 arena, so it cuts out smaller bands. And he put no divas, no obvious things like divas, rappers, or boy bands. Okay, so I'll put a link to his video and thread down in the description, but I kind of thought it was quite interesting. Firstly, the people are nicking my ideas and putting up my early videos of like pieces of paper, but I kind of found it quite interesting, the choices they made and whether I agreed with them. So I thought I'd have a little section. So Steve himself, he went to, I don't know if you go like Coldplay, I think somebody gave me a CD, but I'll go along with that. Billy Joel, yeah, I've got no Billy Joel. Elvis, well, I've got a few records of Elvis. Grateful Dead and Pearl Jam. I think Pearl Jam did a cover, Unforgivable cover of Barbara O'Reilly, I think. I don't know.
What do you say?
But yeah, so and I put sort of ticks and crosses whether I agreed with those or not. Also, Mike's Vinyl Spiral. So he's gone for Beach Boys. Well, that's Unforgivable. I think I've got Pet Sounds. Fleetwood Mac. So yeah, I'll go with that one. Prince. I think I've only got a 12-inch single of Prince. Other than that, I've had a leaflet from the Jehovah's Witnesses. That is a funny joke. No Bruce Springsteen. You haven't got my address, so I'm not getting any Bruce LT. And Leonard Cohen, and I didn't have any of his until recently, but I part exchanged it in and flipped it. So then we've got Edward. I watched his Proghat. He went for the Killers. I think I had a Killers CD. Stevie Nicks, haven't got hers. Bon Jovi, absolutely put them into the fires of hell. Slayer, Rage Against the Machine. Not sure about Rage Against the Machine because they did a Radio 5 live thing running against the X Factor winner, and they actually swore live on, so I thought it was very rock and roll, but yeah, so that was quite interesting. And then finishing off Vinyl Martini, Jack, he went for Kiss, Foreigner, Van Halen, Whitesnake, and Styx, whoever the hell Styx are. So yeah, all of the above. So I actually quite liked Jack's choices. So how about my own? Well, You know, it was when I was sort of a youngster getting my collection together. I never had any Black Sabbath or Pink Floyd or Slade. And why? Because I had a friend at school, and he and his brother had everything by Slade, everything by Black Sabbath, and everything by Pink Floyd. So I did pick up Dark Side of the Moon, but you know, I just didn't have to bother. And likewise with punk. I had a friend who was into punk, so he had Clash and basically all the punk, all the Damned, some Sex Pistols, and all the other punk bands. So I didn't actually bother with those. Also, until recently, I never had any Led Zeppelin.
What are we talking about?
Or Stones. I think I had High Tide. Was it High Tide and Greengrass? But that was about it. So lots of things I've been collecting now, and I've ended up with bits of Genesis, Roxy Music, Japan, also that I never had back in the day. Okay, so let's do a top 5, but I'll break it down. I'll give you 2 of them. Okay, so first I'll go I think for sort of either American or non-UK bands. I'll do a couple of these. So the first up is Metallica, and I think Lars is particularly a really crappy drummer, personally. I just think this sort of drungy metal, for me it's all the same. Please don't unsubscribe. But
I'll get off the plane. You happy with that? I'm happy with that. I'll smoke it outside. Open the door.
But it's I think I'd rather listen to Rammstein or whatever their name is, or the young kids doing a cover of Rammstein rather than Metallica. So Metallica would definitely be. I will. I think with Proghat, Jack. That's right, Jack. He changed the title. It would never pass my front door. So I think that's Metallica is definitely one of those. Okay. I think I might have had a copy of Rumours, but I genuinely can't remember. So I'm going to stick Fleetwood Mac. Now, I actually quite like a lot of Fleetwood Mac stuff, but I just don't feel the inclination to collect it. So Fleetwood Mac has never been there. Likewise, not that into metal, but AC/DC. Just never felt the inclination. If it was cheap, I'd pick up something, but never got into them, never wanted to collect them. Okay, don't shoot me for the next one. I really like his early stuff, particularly things like The River, but can't stand him as a person. And again, you haven't got my address, so you can't send me any VCLT. It is, of course, Springsteen.
Oh, you want some? Huh? You want some?
So again, I quite like him, but I say don't like him, and I don't like members of the band either. But yeah, so I just have no inclination for getting any Springsteen. And last but not least, this is a band. Okay, I understand it's kind of like middle of the road in America, and you appreciate the musicianship. But it's a band that kind of, I think for UK people it's a love and hate maybe. $130 or $200 UHQR. No, you can't buy me a thrill. It is Steely Dan.
I hope this crashes.
I think I listened to Aja once back in the day, Aja, and that was enough, frankly. So no, it's not on my list. But
now, I don't want to kick up a fuss, right? Press charges, contact the British Embassy. I'd rather not pursue those channels, not my style, not that sort of a bloke.
Okay, so let's have closer to home. Let's have a real kind of UK, some of this might shock you, real UK people that I actually like but never had, or people I just absolutely cannot stand. Okay, so the first one, I don't know if you would call them prog rock or post-prog or maybe neo-prog with a bit of punk. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. But yeah, I couldn't. Back in the day, I've mellowed a bit. I think they're quite okay now. But back in the day, I couldn't stand this band. I couldn't stand their records. I couldn't stand the record covers. It is Marillion. So that would never cross my door, even if it was cheap. To be honest, I hate looking at the covers. I just don't think I would bother. Okay, so the next band. Now the next bands in the 80s were just hyped. I really couldn't stand them, and I can't stand them today. If they were hit by a bus, don't say that. It's nasty. I'll cut that, edit that out. No hit by a bus. No, but back in the day, they were in the UK charts, what seemed like for like 3 or 4 years, constantly, with just really commercial, overhyped crap, and sort of celebrated for the creative duo. And they were just always there, and I couldn't stand their faces, the stupid hats they wore. Everything about this band, I don't think it could sell out 20k. Well, they probably could because of the hype, but people would go home very disappointed. It was the Thompson Twins. I couldn't stand them then. I can't stand them now. I hope they don't get hit by a bus. No, but yeah, I just couldn't stand anything about this band. It's just so overhyped, cynical pop crap. Next one's a bit of a shocker because it's a band that I really like, but I think, to be honest, if it was a choice between them and buying a Who record back in the day, I probably bought the record by the Who. It's a lovely band, it's a great band, very inspirational. I would be open to some VCLT. I might have a single somewhere, I don't know, but it's the Kinks. So just, again, never got around, never had the money back in the day to sort of start collecting them. And they're a band that have really grown on me. Another band that really grown on me, again, it was kind of like I just couldn't afford, I only had a paper out, for God's sake. Birthday money, Christmas money. So I never bought any XTC. So it's XTC, very good band. If you've got a spare, any spare LPs, you haven't, no Springsteen. Right, the next one. Okay, now I switched off music sort of towards the end of the 80s, and really the 90s I was very disappointed with. Worked abroad a bit, and these two bands epitomised Britpop. And I've chucked them in together because it was like the battle of the bands, and I really couldn't care less. It was Oasis and Blur. Yes, there's some good songwriting. Yes, there's some great songs, but I never felt the inclination to actually buy an LP. Sorry, if you're a 90s kid, I'm sure you would feel a lot different with that, but I was late 70s rock and roll, early 80s indies kid, so not interested. And bonus, I would probably throw in most of Britpop there as well.
I would like to leave now, this minute, please. Get me a taxi.
Okay, so thank you for listening. I'll mention the people in the description. Please go and like and subscribe them if you can, and thank you for all your subscriptions. Okay, Stevie's Vinyl Cupboard. Goodbye.